red light comes on and the clock's running, we're good. Thank you. All right, well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to call this meeting of the Planning Commission to order on January the 3rd, 2022. Time is 6 p.m. or 6:02, thereabouts. The first order of business is to call to order the meeting and the declaration of the quorum, which we have just about made it. So we're good to go. So could we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Malcolm Gorge?
Here.
Ed Kessler? Erica Page? Mark Costello? Here. Kim Coleman?
Here.
Jamal Mosley? Here. Martin Wells?
Here.
Thank you. And can you also confirm notification and posting of the agenda as required by state law?
Yes.
Thank you. So we have just one order of business this evening.
So I call for a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. Any questions or additions?
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion. Second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The agenda is adopted. Resolutions. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we move on to approval of the minutes, can I just recognize our two new members of the Planning Commission, Mr. Martin Wells on my left here in the body, and Mr. Jamal Mosley, who is tuning in through our Zoom file, website, Zoom.
There we go. Yeah.
Thank you.
He's here and present on the screen. Yes.
Thank you.
And we've heard him.
Would anyone like to make any comment before we move on? I'm certainly glad to have you join this august body.
Sure. If I may say something, my apologies for not being able to be there, but I am quarantined. My wife and daughter tested positive for this latest COVID variant yesterday, so the military hospital recommends that I stay put for a few days. So my apologies for not being present physically this evening.
Thank you for that. Mr. Mosley, we absolutely understand your illness, and we hope you'll probably recover in the shortest time possible. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to getting more involved in the town of Blythewood. We're sure about shop opportunity as well, so I'm very close and honored.
We're very glad to have you, Mr. Wells.
Next order of business is approval of the minutes to you prior to the meeting.
Is there any comments or discussion? They look pretty good to me. So, feeling any other issues, motion to approve the minutes as presented. Thank you, Marcus. Marcus, got a motion. Second.
And all in favor say aye.
Aye. Thank you. The ayes have it. It is approved. So our main topic of discussion action this evening is regarding the approval of the comprehensive plan before we move on to that. I think we have any decisions signed up. But anyone in the front today wish to make a comment before we? If there are no immediate comments, then we'll move to the action item, which is to adopt the draft of the comprehensive plan. Mr. Williamson, would you like to just give us a quick resume of where we are currently, how we got here? This is obviously the culmination of 10 months of work between the residents, businesses of the town of Blythewood, Planning Commission, Central Midlands Council of Government. There have been numerous meetings and discussions and presentations. What we have this evening is the culmination of all that work. If you would just like to bring that when you wish, and then we'll open it up for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Actually, first as an administrative meeting, I did want to do some videographer and his daughter, Salome Gazador, who are taking control of video, YouTube from here on out. So I just want to introduce them and begin here. And for the comprehensive plan, this is the plan that establishes the goals of the town for 10 elements. Y'all have done over on YouTube, and you see in your packet there. It's from 2020 to 2030. Got originally planned to have this done in 2020, and the state allowed a delay of 1 year. So here we're substantially completed right here at the end of 2021, beginning of 2022. Another thing I just want to mention is that at the end of the comprehensive plan are these goals, and that's probably one of the most critical things. And we will be taking those goals and creating a spreadsheet and adding specific items under each of those goals and how those will be met, and then updating those annually, and then we can bring that back to Planning Commission and of course to Town Council for approval. So it is something that we do want to keep up continuously. And finally, just want to thank all the Planning Commission for all the contributions to get here, and particularly the former chairman, Councilman McHenrick, to get us to this point. So from here on out, so if the Planning Commission recommends approval, it will go to Town Council. There'll be a public hearing, and then that'll be the first reading, and then the second reading, if approved by Town Council, then it will be adopted. And then following that, as you may be familiar with, Richland County is currently rewriting their land development code and doing reconfiguring their entire map. And that's all a result of the county's comprehensive plan, and that's how has taken many years, and of course would not take that kind of time to do it. But that's a similar, I think, a follow-up to this would be looking at our zoning ordinance, getting it updated to reflect the goals in the comprehensive plan, and as well as a revision to the town's zoning map. So that's the most tangible piece that comes out as a result of the comprehensive plan. That's all I had, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Williamson. It's very hard to really summarize this very weighty document just in a few words, but with apologies to our new commissioners. We have been working on this for a long time. I think it's very important to highlight the fact that this is largely a reflection of the views and desires and concerns of the residents of the town of Blythewood, which we achieved through the questionnaire that we sent out to the town in the second quarter of this year, which we had a tremendous response for. And that really was the guiding light to determining what our goals and objectives and strategy would look like. I don't intend to read through the plan from first to last page. It might be worth just emphasizing what the individual goals were, because as a planning commission, this is what we will be looking at in detail over the forthcoming months, where we will be trying to determine the priorities and the individual tasks and objectives under each of the strategies to support the town and encouraging the town to meet those objectives, as Mr. Williamson has outlined. So this is not the end by any means. This is just the beginning. I think most of you here have probably received a copy of the comprehensive plan through the notice of the meeting. I'll just read out the individual goals. If anybody wishes to make any observation or comment or question, that would be the time to do it. Otherwise, we'll just move on. Goal number 1 says support the health, economic well-being and quality of life for all residents, visitors and businesses. Goal number 2 is to support a diverse and resilient local and regional economy. And I will venture to say that supporting our economic development within the town has always been, and I think always will be, our highest and most important priority. Goal number 3 is to ensure an adequate and balanced supply of quality housing options are available and accessible to residents of all ages and incomes. And there's certainly no lack of evidence that we're achieving those goals with a number of new neighbourhoods and housing developments within the town and local area. Goal number 4, protect, preserve and promote Blythewood's natural and cultural resources. This is an element that the townspeople have commented is most important. We wish the town to be prosperous and to grow, but at the same time to maintain its natural beauty and attraction that bring people to Blythewood, and I am sure we are the envy of many other areas, municipalities that do not have the privileges that we enjoy. Goal number 5, coordinate with partners to mitigate congestion, implement road improvements and promote multimodal connectivity. A lot easier to say than to achieve, not that easy to say actually, but we have support from Richland County with the penny tax funds, which we'll eventually see some progress with, and through the COG there's also funding available through the South Carolina DOT, etc. So hoping in the next few years we really will see some improvements to our local roads within the town. Goal number 6, provide a high level of public services and infrastructure in an efficient, cost-effective and respectful manner. And that's all to, again, support our community, our young folk, our families, and our elders. Goal number 7, coordinate with partners and neighbouring jurisdictions to manage growth and preserve Blythewood's small town rural character. And I think that's an area where we can certainly make improvements, but we actually do have a good positive relationship with Richland County, and we need to leverage that and continue to develop those relationships. Goal number 8, strengthen Blythewood's ability to respond to and recover from natural hazards, economic downturns, and other community vulnerabilities. COVID being a very good example of how we can all pull together to help each other, help families in need, and respond in a responsible manner to those kind of difficulties. And that's all I got in that part of the book. Let me just check where we're at. All of them. Thank you. Oops, I'd hate to sell us short. So there's a very quick run through on the comprehensive plan, which we will present to the Town Council with our recommendation. It will be their decision if they wish to make any amendments or adjustments. That is fairly usual. So this may not be the absolute final version of the plan, but are there any observations, questions, or comments from the commissioners present tonight or online that we need to address?
Hey, Malcolm. So, Ken Coleman, I do have a quick question. So, first and foremost, I believe we have an excellent plan here for the town. This is I've had 3 opportunities to review this, and I think we've really done our due diligence with framing what we want to do to make this town better. My question is, do you believe when this is presented to the council, there will be any questions from the Planning Commission's perspective on what priorities need to be initiated first? The reason I ask the question is, as we start going through each of the individual goals, they're listed in term, i.e. short term, mid-term, long range, and priority. Is there any possibility of a question being asked of what do we need to do immediately to help in developing timeframes, or is it just for us to review the plan, ensure that what's in the plan is value added to the citizens, and that's it for our responsibilities as well?
I think that's a very good point that you raise, and I would just reiterate what I said at the beginning. I think it's our responsibility to break down the individual goals into achievable projects to determine the priorities and the content as far as possible in the form of recommendations to the Town Council. One thing that the COG has not yet provided, but they're planning to do so, is provide us with a database of all of the individual parts of the goals, so that instead of handling a document like this, we've got a spreadsheet that we amongst ourselves can make recommendations for doing exactly as you described. It's already been established from previous discussions at council level what the town's priorities are. Economic development being number 1. I think it's then land use, infrastructure, transportation. So unless they wish to choose that set of priorities, that will be our guiding light in drawing up this larger sort of work program. But even when we present that, we're still limited by resources, people and finances, and urgency. So to a large extent, we'll just take things as we're able to manage them, and by consensus, proceed with what will provide the best benefit to the town in the shortest possible term.
Thank you. That answers my question. I appreciate your guidance, Malcolm.
My pleasure. So, any other questions? Failing that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the comprehensive plan as presented here for consideration by the Town Council. We have a motion. Do we hear a second?
A second.
We have 2 seconds. But I think Ken was first. Any other comments or discussion? Hearing none. All in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The motion is carried. Thank you. I think we can move on to the last item, which is open citizens' comments. Is there anybody here that would like to make any comments? Yes, sir. Please come up to them. Could you speak into the Bob? Could you speak into the microphone? We can't hear you very well. It's on.
Okay. I've attended a lot of council meetings, planning commission meetings. I stay up with what's going on. Help our community be better than it is. Going to I've run into probably at least half of 10 elders. The only thing I can say about that piece of paper is that its name doesn't do it justice. It is a far-reaching piece of paper. If we only did 10% of the things that we put out as goals for the next 10 years, Blythewood will be a much better place for you and I and our families.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. And I'd certainly like to give you assurance that whilst I'm sitting in this chair, we'll be talking about the comprehensive plan on a regular basis, and we'll be pressing council wherever the need is to make sure these goals are addressed in the best way that we possibly can. To some extent, some of these will only be achieved if we receive a huge amount of funding from somewhere, because everything depends upon money. But the other side, we have ways and means of tackling that, and we'll be doing our level best to explore all of those opportunities to make sure that just money is not preventing us from bringing about these very important improvements for the town. Appreciate your support and interest in what's going on in the town. I know you represent Cobblestone, and you're here more regularly than just about any other resident. So thank you for that. So, are there no other comments? Would you, Mr. Fry, please.
And reference Mr. Coleman as the priorities. I think some of the priorities will be identified to us already when you look at 135% growth from 2010 to 2020. And I only refer back to when, I should have said my name's Phil Fry, Blythewood Chamber, but when they came with the census asking the questions and saying your appropriations will come from, and I said, as a 20-year resident here, what's happened in the last 10 years, I shudder to think what's going to happen in the next 10 years. We have grown by that significant amount in the last 10. This is an important document, Mr. Zatowski, as he referred to, and it's something we need to adhere to. So I think items 1, 2, and 3 on our goals, we're working at 4, 5, 6 through 7 is been thrust upon us, right? And we need to enact everything we possibly can, particularly the infrastructure, the roads, etc. Those are critical to us. But and recovery mode, that's when God gives it to us, we have to respond to it. But I want to thank also Malcolm, you, and Marcus, been there a while. Mr. Coleman, you guys are relatively new. Jamar, Mr. Wells. I want to thank Rich McHenry, indeed, for a lot of work he's done on the Planning Commission and now on the Council. But I refer back to the comment that he made in several of the Planning Commission and Town Council presentations. Planning Commission shall. That resonates with me, Rich. And it's important to us all. Yeah. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Any other comments? I'll entertain a motion then to adjourn the meeting. Thank you, Marcus. A second?
A second.
Have a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Ms. Mosley, for making us available via Zoom. We look forward to seeing you in person next time. Speedy recovery to your family as well.
Thank you so much.
Right. Now we got some work.